For number 11, you are asked to identify the key features, reminding yourself what they are up here. Um, of this function, f of x is negative 1/6 times the quantity 3x minus 6 times the quantity 4x plus 16. I also gave another hint that this is not intercept form, but it can be. So let's get to it. I hope you've given it a little thought and wondered why this is not intercept form. This right here is intercept form. A times the group x minus z1 times the group x minus z2. Notice that the coefficient of x needs to be 1 in this form. Otherwise, you don't have it. Oh, technically, we don't have a coefficient of 1 on our x terms, but we can make it so. How? Using a little strategy called factoring. Right, so we're going to take each of those groups, make it so that the coefficient is 1. So let's get to it. We can take this group, take each group individually, take the first group, and in order for this to be 1, I need to factor out a 3. And if I factor out a 3, it's like division. That term now becomes just x. If I factor out a 3 here, the second term is minus 2. Alright, and now I need to multiply by this group, but first factor out the 4, and we're left with x plus 4. Alright, so we almost, now we're definitely getting warmer because our coefficients on the x are 1 within the groups. Now we just got to clean up the a value here. So we have negative 1/6 times 3, skipping ahead here, times 4. I'm allowed to skip ahead because, think of this equation, 1 times 2 times 3 times 4. If I wanted to start this problem by doing 1 times 4 first, I'm allowed to do that because of the commutative property of multiplication. So I'm just going to multiply my numbers. Negative 1/6 times 3 times 4 is 12. Alright, still got a little work to do, but nothing too bad. And negative 1/6 times 12 is negative 12/6, but negative 12 divided by 6 makes negative 2. Alright, and there we go. I think now we got it. Actually, I know we have it. Now we have this form, a, cross right down here, x minus our 0, so yep, our 0 is at 2, and x minus our other 0, well, this is like minus a negative 4. So our other 0 is negative 4, and we can easily check that just by mental math. What number minus 2 makes 0? 2. What number plus 4 makes 0? Negative 4. So that's a nice thing about intercept form, or another name you might see is called factored form, is that you can easily identify the zeros. So our zeros, that's our starting point, are 2 and alright, negative 4. Or written as x-intercepts, if you input 2, you output a 0, and if you input negative 4, you also output a 0. Alright, so those are our x-intercepts. Since we're talking intercepts, let's do y-intercept. And for any function, to find the y-intercept, substitute in 0. Sub in 0. So let's go to the function. F of 0. I'm going to use this form. I think it's just easier for me to do. Negative 2 times 0 minus 2 times 0 plus 4. Alright, follow the order of operations here. Negative 2, parentheses, we get a negative 2 in this group. In this parentheses, we get a 4. And now a negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4, times 4 is 16. So there's our y-intercept, or we can write it as 0, comma 16. Let me box these off so we identify our key features nice and clearly. Alright, so the intercepts are done. Onto the vertex. Once we have the vertex, we have the axis of symmetry, and we can identify the max and min from that as well. So how do I find the vertex from here? Well, we actually use this information we know that 2 and negative 4 are our x-intercepts. So let's think about this for a quick second. If I do just a rough sketch of a graph, 2 and negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 are our x-intercepts. So where does the axis symmetry have to be? Well, its axis of symmetry, it needs to be right in the middle of these two zeros. So it doesn't take too much work to figure out that right in the middle, 1, 2 steps this way, 3 steps that way, 1, 2, 3 steps this way, is right here. Alright, 1, 2, 3 gets me that 0, 1, 2, 3 gets me that 0. Where am I? I'm at x equals negative 1. So one method of finding the axis symmetry, oh, that line's not very vertical, but I did say it's a rough sketch. Moving on, one way is to literally draw a little diagram and just use some knowledge of symmetry where the axis of symmetry would need to be. Another method, method 2, is to literally use your zeros and to find the middle of them. Let's add those up. So take your zeros, your x-intercepts, negative 4 plus 2, and divide by 2, which gives us negative 2 over 2, negative 1. And there we go, there's our axis of symmetry. X is negative 1. So there you go. You have two methods for finding the axis of symmetry. If you want to memorize this, go for it. I like to use the picture. It helps me remember exactly what I need to do. Alright, well, now that we know our axis of symmetry is at negative 1, we can definitely find our vertex. We know the vertex is at negative 1 something. This is similar to question number 10. If you didn't watch question number 10, I recommend that you go back and check it out. But if you have the x-coordinate of the vertex and we have a function back up here, we can find the y-coordinate. We'll input negative 1, f of negative 1 into our function, which we simplified to negative 2 x minus 2. Oops, let me undo that. Sorry, because we're actually inputting 1 now. So do another parenthesis here, minus 2, that's our first group, and then it was x, but we're actually going to input negative 1 plus 4. So let me fill those in. We're taking our x-coordinate and evaluating the function here. Alright, so parentheses kind of get in the way, but let's just work carefully. Negative 2. Alright, so we have negative 1 take away 2 is negative 3. And then negative, oh, where'd the 1 go? Come back. Negative 1 plus 4 is also positive 3. And now negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6 times 3 is 18. And there we have it. There's our y-coordinate of the vertex. So we can get rid of these little question marks, no longer unknown to us. The vertex is negative 1, 18. And we'll highlight that as a key feature. And finally, our max-min value. Alright, let's go back and remind ourselves, do we have a max or a min? And then we'll figure out the value. So our a value way back at the beginning is negative 2. And if we draw the little picture from class to help us remember, that minus minus makes a sad face, which implies our parabola has a maximum. So we have a max value of 18. And there we go. So let's see, did we get all the key features? Scrolling way back to the beginning, our zeros are negative 4 and positive 2, or as x-intercepts 2, 0, negative 4, 0. Our y-intercept is 16, or we can say it's 0, 16. The axis symmetry, x equals negative 1. The vertex therefore is negative 1. We plug that in to find the output was 18, and therefore that means our max value is 18. And just check this with the graph. Oop, I typed in the wrong function earlier, so let me fix this really quick. Notice that's plus 8, but it should be plus 16. Alright, so we have the original function, let's see if we did all our work right, was -1, 6 times the group 3x minus 6 times the group 4x plus 16. And get a nice picture of this graph. I think we have it all. There's our vertex. Cover some of this up. -1, 18, that's what we did find. Our y-intercept is 0, 16, and there are 2 x-intercepts. So good luck, and I hope this helped.